I'm ready to print my shoe. I've made sure that all of my shoe lines are all stuck down really well, and I'm ready to print it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first make sure I've got both my shoe and a large sheet of construction paper. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky to show on this camera, but hopefully you can see it. Now I'm going to go to a station that's likely already going to be set up. There's going to be a brayer, and it's going to have ink on it. There's going to be a ink pile, and there's going to be a hopefully small square where the ink has already been rolled out. If you are the first person to do this, please make sure you're setting up a small square. That size of that square should be the same size as the brayer itself. So touch on the ink to recharge, and then roll that ink down by lifting, lift, which causes the ink to go on the whole entire roller. Okay? When you hear that sound, you'll know that you've got plenty of ink and you're ready to go. Or if you checked out the texture, it should look like an orange peel, kind of spotty. So, when you've got enough ink here, just move this aside. You are going to then put the ink onto the lines of your string. It doesn't matter what color your string was. When you're adding the ink onto it, that's the color that's going to print. Try to do your best and keep the ink on the lines themselves rather than getting onto the paper, but of course a little bit's going to happen. Then pick up more ink. Tap, 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 lift, and then roll back and forth to coat your strings. You have to work kind of quickly because the ink does dry. And once you've covered all of the lines, then you're ready to print. You are going to take your matrix, which is what we call this part with the lines on it, and your big paper. And I'm going to move my printing stuff out of the way. You will want to position your shoe not in the center of the paper, but as close to one end or the other end as you can get. And we want the toe to try to touch the outside edge of the paper. So I'm going to turn my paper over and kind of look to see where it is. You can bend it up a little bit to check that out. And then line those things up. Okay, and then rub. You could do it this way where you're rubbing the back of your artwork, or you could have done it the other way where you were setting the colored paper down on top of your shoe. You can rub with your hand, or you can use a wooden spoon to help you rub all of the strings with a fair amount of pressure, but you don't have to press super hard, okay? And when you're done, you want to peel up, and you should have your shoe. If you had enough string or enough ink, it will print fairly nicely. It's still yarn though, so it's going to have kind of a broken texture, and that's okay. This is a nice print. I'm ready to go. After I finish printing, my next step is to cut out the shoe and stick it or glue it onto the paper so that I end up with a pair of shoes. If they don't fit completely on the paper, you can tip one of them up or down to make it look like maybe they're sitting on each other or stacked in some way. All right, that's it for this project.